Hi, I'm here with Chris Auld and Chris Klug from Intergen.
In our PDC notebook.
PDC.
Thanks Microsoft for giving us a PDC notebook, very nice.
And they pulled me aside to come to their office to talk a little bit about a really exciting project which I heard about on the weekend. So if you want to introduce yourselves and talk a little bit about what you're up to.
Hi, I'm Chris Auld. I'm Director of Strategy and Innovation at Intergen, based here in sunny Wellington, New Zealand, home of Webstock.
And I'm Chris Klug. I'm a senior .NET developer, I assume, at Intergen. I work full-time with Silverlight at the moment and try to make as many cool projects for Chris as I can.
Hang on, you just touched on something there. So you're actually full-time on Silverlight?
Yes, at the moment I am full-time on Silverlight. I do a few small things at the moment with WPF, but mostly it is Silverlight, and we do full-time Silverlight with at least one developer. We're moving in and getting more and more developers into Silverlight as well.
So in your perspective, where is the opportunity that you see with Silverlight?
I would say the thing with Silverlight would be going with real applications online, and we're looking at a lot of data visualization stuff coming in, getting through larger portions of statistics that we can show in a more interesting way than just numbers. And at the other end, good-looking UIs for things like the one that we produced here, which is a kiosk application, which is probably one way of doing Silverlight as well. But I think the main Silverlight stream would be the more advanced applications online.
Yeah, I think there are real opportunities for building out line of business applications in Silverlight. So we would typically have gone to a Windows Forms application. Yep. It's now possible to run that in Silverlight, present it up through the browser, potentially have it working in offline mode, consume peripherals. So we really are sort of moving into an area where we can build full end-to-end applications in Silverlight.
So what you're really sort of seeing is, I guess, an evolution of maybe a lightweight desktop, which also happens to work cross-platform and inside of the browser as well.
Exactly.
Great.
Yep.
So you touched on the kiosk. Can you talk a little bit more about that project?
Do you want me to kick it off?
Yeah.
So we do a bit of work with a company called Ticket Direct, who are New Zealand's largest and most exciting small independent ticketing company. So they do probably a large percentage of all of the professionally ticketed events in New Zealand.
Yep.
And just this season, they've started selling tickets for the Canterbury Crusaders, who are the rugby team based in Christchurch here in New Zealand. And as part of that, they had an opportunity to put ticket sales kiosks in warehouse stores. Now, for those of you who aren't from this part of the world, the warehouse is kind of like Walmart, only it's red instead of blue.
The red shed.
The big red shed. So we worked with the folks at Ticket Direct to build them out this kiosk application. They had a hardware vendor put them together kiosk machines, and then we've been building the software to run on those kiosks.
Yep. Initially, we started looking at the kiosk and started going WPF would be pretty good fit, because that would be the obvious choice. I assume with going with kiosk, we have access to local peripherals, which we don't have in Silverlight 3 at the moment. We have access to more stuff than we do in Silverlight 3. And we started actually going down that line. But we also have an online version for Ticket Direct that we're trying out in Azure. And that includes a 3D-ish Silverlight seat picker thing that takes a venue, takes it into 3D, and you pick your seats using a three-dimensional view.
Awesome.
Problem is that thing doesn't port very nicely to WPF, because WPF only has full 3D and not the more simple Silverlight version with perspective 3D. So we decided that to get code reuse, we're going to go with Silverlight and being able to go with that 3D venue and keep that in both the online version and the kiosk version.
So we're literally wanting to reuse our Silverlight application, much of our Silverlight application across both our online experience used by the general public and our kiosk experience that's on physical hardware that we control.
Yep.
And you touched on Windows Azure, so the Windows Azure is the platform that sits behind
not at the moment. It is we have a version or a test version of their system that runs in Azure, but at the moment we're not connecting to that. We're connecting to local databases around New Zealand.
Okay.
But it should be a pretty simple move to take the whole back end, move it into Azure, reconfigure the kiosks, and they should just start working.
Yeah. So that's basically where we were halfway through the Azure project when the client said, hey, down tools, drop everything. We've got to go and do this other one. We've got to get these kiosks in and make a kick-ass job of that. So, we're being pulled by multiple things.
So where are the kiosks at the moment? Is it a proof of concept at this point?
No, they're in there's 11 or 12 warehouse stores throughout the South Island. So everywhere from sort of north of Timaru through to Rangiora and even across to the west coast.
Fantastic. And you've been observing users going in and
we have. So we can remote desktop in and actually watch what the users are doing.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So as a developer, you can actually watch a user session as they're interacting with your kiosk?
Yeah, it's kind of scary, to be perfectly honest. It's something that you normally can't do. You can't really get into that way, because when you deliver an application, you can look over somebody's shoulder, but that person always knows that you're there.
Yeah.
So they handle the application slightly differently than they would if you weren't there. In most cases, but this way you can actually sneak a peek without anybody knowing it, which is kind of
cool. And is that giving you information that's leading to a redesign?
Yeah, a bit. It's giving us a bit of information. I haven't actually spent that much time looking at it. I've had to redo and extend the application with new features, and I've had other stuff to do. But I've been in there checking out if something goes wrong, why it goes wrong, and being a kiosk application is a bit different than your regular application, because there's no one that you can just tell, oh yeah, so it broke down, can you just reboot? It doesn't work like that. There's no one there to take care of it.
It has to be a highly reliable application. We actually have centralised control over all of our Silverlight kiosks, so we can start, stop, reboot, take them offline, stop them from selling tickets.
Great.
Actually automatically update the ZAP file down on the client machine, all by setting flags in a centralised database. So why don't we actually jump over the shoulder?
Yeah, let's have a look.
So we've obviously picked up the application, thrown it onto our PDC laptop. Thanks, Microsoft. All good. So it is a touch-based application. It is a single touch-based application because the units that we use are just basic ELO industrial touch screens. So if we drill in, we're actually able to sit and buy these tickets. The application itself, the Silverlight ZAP file, has actually been hosted inside an IE browser control, inside a Windows Forms application. And that Windows Forms application also exposes a bunch of WCF services that we consume that allow us to communicate with printers, printers and FPOS terminals.
As well as the local machine, actually being able to talk to local databases on the machine.
Yeah.
So we do store transactional information on the local machine for security reasons, if something goes wrong.
So we get to pick which stand we want to sit at, and so this is our sort of perspective 3D venue map. So we can do things like we can tilt the map
the other way around.
We can tilt that map down. We can move around. We can zoom, and we can obviously pick the section we want to sit in. So we'll sit in the Paul Kelly stand. We're on the network here.
Yes, it is.
So we want excellent availability. We're going to grab that. So we'll grab some seats in there, and we'll have a couple of adult seats. So $75. Keep on carrying on. This is going to now grab those seats for us. Right, and so what's going to happen is we're actually going to print these tickets out. Might want to come up and have a look. So we actually have embedded Boca ticketing printers embedded in the kiosk, and we actually have FPOS terminals embedded in the kiosk. So we actually work with the stuff from Direct Payment Solutions in Auckland, and they provide us with a COM component, or ActiveX control, and we do all sorts of crazy, funky, multi-managed code into unmanaged code into crazy interop to get that to work. But we've now got Silverlight integrated into those DPS components.
Yeah.